We're back, everyone. God, it feels like it's been 3 days actually since been on with this camera, with this light, with this microphone on the interwebs, giving you the opposite of financial advice or predictions or anything of that sort. So I did not benefit from it, and you probably wouldn't either, even if I did. So welcome to the show. If you're new, I am Max, the RHMax channel, and a couple things I want to get into before we bring in our special guest today, HexPleb. I've been following his tweets for a while, so got with him a couple weeks ago. Hey, do you want to come on the show? He got some interesting stuff to talk about. Can't wait to hear his story, how he got into this thing, and always enjoy his Validator tweets. So I'm glad he could come on for the first time, and it takes some courage to get on stream for the first time. I know back then not easy for me either. So we're glad he's here, and we'll go through some really cool stuff there. But before we get into all of it, PulseChain tour happened this past weekend, and it was awesome. I don't think I participated nearly as much as I feel like everyone else. I feel like it was almost a week-long event for Steve and some of the folks of our Seattle crew that have been, showing people around in town and doing events. And I missed Top Golf and all that. That was pretty fun. But I tried to at least participate on Saturday and Sunday, in particular, on the tour stuff and our local events that we set up as well. iFly, you may have saw pictures. Richard retweeted it. That was pretty cool. So always cool to get a retweet or comment from the king. And the tour went great. RG3 did the seminar portion, and then I did a live. This is actually not. It says Validator AMA number 22. That's not technically. Online Validator AMA number 22. I was in person doing a Validator AMA. That was very fun to do, and didn't know quite what to expect. Much different in person, online, but I felt pretty comfortable, and it went well. I got some good questions during it. Tried to kind of lay the landscape of validating and PulseChain and Richard Hart, and why all this stuff's important. And even in person, I saw Bets in the chat. Bets in Crypto was helping him set up his validator in the hotel room and stuff, and it was awesome. Like, that was like getting online, talking to people. It's great, chat, video, whatever. But when you get to hang out with people in real life, and you get to there's a whole other connection, a whole other experience you get from it. So I'm glad the tour bus came by, SJ and crew. I got to catch up on Scivive and some of the editor stuff, and the facilitating that we're helping as we can to get to Scivive on the cutting room floor, the bookshelf one day, like all those things. So that was cool to catch up as well. And great job. Shout out to Black Hexagon, RG3, SJ, everyone involved to put on an amazing tour. They're headed to Denver next, I believe, and then Chicago pretty soon too. And the Chicago one's got Coffee, looks like he's speaking, and who else? Axis. I think I saw he was talking about LP as well. So I wish I could be there. I know some people were asking, or I kind of maybe a few weeks ago I was telling some people too that I may be in Chicago, maybe not at the same time as the tour, but at some point, but I don't think that's going to work out currently this summer. So, but I will, lots of good events going on. Again, pulsechaintour.com if you're interested to see if they're coming to a city near you or your city itself. And it's nothing like getting people together. Power of community is purely shown in action, and you can really get to know people and just hang out, relax, all that stuff. Have your 4 shots of coffee, three clips of Air Friend Somi videos, 2 handstands, all that fun stuff. Whatever you start your morning with, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, let me say out to the chat and we'll get into it. Harmonic Hexagon, good to see you. It's been a while. Good to see you there. Of course. I think I've had a number of people reach out to me, and of course I'm not the only one. There's lots of people in the community doing a lot of work that doesn't get to be seen. Just helping people. Some of them have consulting services, some of them don't. Just being able to grow the community, understand what's important, to put the pieces together that aren't flashy, that aren't, these things that everyone gets to see and congratulate you for and all this stuff. I think that's rewarding to me. I tweeted the other day, or I replied or something. It was like doing things without much expectation. Yeah, we're human beings. Everyone, it's kind of hard to have zero expectations of anything, but optimizing away from expectations, I guess, and the whole ethos of community, but doing things without much expectations of reward and stuff, just to help people, just to grow the community and all that, is very underrated. And I definitely try to do a lot of that myself. And I see other people doing it as well. A lot of people doing some fantastic work here, and the community wouldn't be the same without it. That's what makes this thing so special. So again, shout out to Astro. What's up, man? Met Astro in Miami. Speaking of meetups, good to see you. Can you speak about yield change over time? Yes, we will definitely. I'll save this question. We'll pose it to HexPleb because he gets to answer questions today. Because I'm just hosting today. I get to host every once in a while these validator things. Red Squirrel, what's up, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm here for the tech. There we go. I like it. That's an appropriate response for Validator AMA. That's a lot of people are not here to learn how to get rich. They're here to learn how to get through some of the technical stuff and understand the benefits of validating and the downsides. We'll talk about it both. For objective discussions are very important to me, and I think they're useful in the community. Let's see. Yeah, if I see any questions, I'll get to them in a little bit. We're gonna go after I introduce our guest here, DJ Bomber. What's happening? Dipslayer. Shout out Dipslayer. This guy makes open source software. I hear Richard's voice when I say that sometimes too. Making a lot of great stuff in the community. One of the most advanced scripts out there. A lot of good stuff. We did a video. He came on the show a couple AMAs ago, and we went through a lot of different cool stuff. So that was a great AMA too, and clipped him going through the start to finish using his script as well. So you don't have to use my script. You can use his script. You can use other guides. Tons of community content out there. A lot of it complimentary, and we all kind of have our own flavor on it too. What's up, Bigfoot? Welcome. Meto PN. Meto. I want to say Metropolitan. Meto PN. Welcome. Good evening to you as well. Thank you, 007. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think I met you out there too. Yeah, appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Sorry, I get the avatars and I get the names and the alias and stuff mixed up sometimes. So appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Desk side IT support. I do not envy that job. I know a lot of people are they're putting in work. They're answering the DMs. They're doing all that stuff. I allocate a little bit of time to it, but I try not to, you guys know my no monetization. I try not to sell my time. I'm trying to buy my time back instead of sell it. So I donate my time. That's how I think about it these days. Yes, Chicago's could be awesome. Hexter T-shirts, welcome. Great to hear from you. Catch up about the PulseChain process. Yeah, Cornelius, welcome. Yes, we will go through the process and the experience. That's what it's going to be cool about this AMA too. It's you get to hear the experience of someone setting up a validator. That's not me. You know, you've heard from me the last 20 AMAs, but and me learning and all that stuff. You get to hear from someone in the community who's just sounds like interested, a thirst for knowledge and interest for learning, and kind of setting this stuff and making mistakes and learning from them, all the stuff along the way. So I'm very excited to hear his perspective, and apparently very successful validating too from the tweets I've seen. It's happening, Bigfoot. All right, without further ado, welcome to the show, HexPleb.
Yeah, nice. Thank you for having me, RHMax. Nice to speak to you.
Of course. Yeah, we were chatting in the green room, and this is your first stream, and I think it takes a lot of courage. Just sit back. We keep things pretty casual, so don't try not to get too nervous about questions or anything else. You'll be fine. We got a pretty calm, cool, collective, and interesting group here today as well.
Yeah, I've watched quite a few of your streams, so I know that we're good here. Nice place to be for the first time to speak to somebody. So thank you again.
Of course. Yeah, as I said, I'll put your Twitter on the screen just so people know what I'm talking about, because you are one of the people who I follow and have seen post a lot of good validator content, and just stuff to give people insights of what this stuff looks like, what just kind of the inside of what you're thinking about. You're looking at. I'm sure we'll talk about APY and stuff as well, but what does it mean to be active? What are the stuff that you went through and just curious about in all the epochs?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Obviously, Twitter, it's a blog site at the end of the day. Some people use it for marketing their businesses, etc. And I just thought, I've been in the Hex ecosystem a few years, and I thought, why not? I might as well just create a validator, show you that plebs can be validators too, and tweet about my journey more than anything in regards to that.
Yeah,
and as you can see on that picture that you just brought up, I got in there pretty early in regards to validators, so that was quite humbling for myself as well. I expected thousands might be online before me, but we did it. It was good. It was an exciting experience to be at the start of the network.
Dude, that was the race. I remember as soon as it launched, that's the first thing I did was change my script, updated. I put it, I changed it for myself because my script is the one I use. So once I did it for myself, I pushed out the changes so everyone could use it. And then I started my syncing process. It takes 2 or 3 days for the whole process to occur. And then I was happy too to be in that first hundreds. I know I was trying to get in as early as possible. I wanted to make it before. What was I trying to? I think I made it before the 5,000 mark. So I think I was
okay.
in the first 1,000.
Yeah. So you got nice. Yeah.
I think so. I can't remember exactly, but I think I was within the first 1,000 or maybe 1,500 or so. But that was the race. That was excitement. That was it. When PulseChain launched, that was the most exciting thing for me, other than playing with PulseX and doing stuff. Was, hey, let's get the validator running ASAP, and let me try to get that sweet early APY that we're looking at too.
I mean, would you say that the experience was similar to the FOMO of the AA when Hex launched? I'm not sure. You see, I didn't participate in that, but I know there was a lot of FOMO there.
Yeah,
Well,
I was definitely around. I think even back then I wasn't participating much in the AA. I was looking around the exchanges too for stuff. So I think I was kind of looking at the prices and I was like, man, the AA seems more expensive here and there. So I think I was
doing the Bybit one Satoshi buys, yeah.
The Bydesk, yeah,
Bydesk. That was it, yeah. I remember somebody was there trading at 1 Satoshi.
Dude, it was hard because it was like, is this thing ever going to get over 1 Satoshi? Like, are we going to get to 2? Do I need to trade the ETH pair? Like, what is going on? Because back then, ETH was like, it's just this other thing. It's I trade BTC at that point. So yeah. So but the FOMO as far as when Hex launched, I mean, AA or not, it was kind of a scramble of like, for me, my experience was, wow, is this going to work? Like, I love Richard. I've been following for a couple years before Hex launched. I love him as a person and his ideals and all the alpha and all the stuff there, but he's never been a founder. So is this thing like I was almost in protection mode. I was like, let me protect my principle. Let me do that kind of stuff. And back obviously looking back, I was like, oh God, just why didn't you go harder? All this stuff. Yeah. But it was one of those unknowns, what unknowns, and then 2020 happened. The big payday happened, and everything from that. It was like, all right, this guy's he's how did I ever doubt him? That kind of thing. So that was definitely
bringing the AA up, I should probably do an introduction and let you know in regards to how I actually found Richard Hart, getting into Hex itself, and then
yes, please,
sacrificing for PulseChain. I think, for me, crypto, I first heard around it whenever the Silk Road news broke. Whenever they took down the Silk Road, that's when I found out about Bitcoin. Now, I was a little bit younger in my life and I didn't get involved then. It wasn't until, I think, 2017 when I first got in to Bitcoin, and more so Ethereum mining. So, the Ethereum mining was massive back then. It was quite profitable to be doing GPU mining. And, I ran a farm, should we say, probably about 100 NVIDIA 10 series cards, 1060s, 70s, 80s, TIs. And, it was a good time. But as, it went along, I was getting deeper into the crypto game, and I think it was around where Bitcoin had the Bitcoin Cash fork, and Richard did a stream with Roger Ver, and this was, the original stream how I found Richard Hart, and he used to always be in his bright coloured suits with the flowers on, etc. And I followed him for a couple of years, and like through the period of where he was talking about the CFD token with the scientist. I forgot his name.
David something, yeah.
Yeah. I remember watching a stream with him. They had a chat, etc. And then he decided to do the Hex project. But upon running up to the launch of Hex, there was a lot of mystery, should we say, surrounded around Richard. And for those who know, he self-doxed himself, and I looked into that, and I just wasn't too sure what to do. I couldn't make up my own decision. There were so many people saying, "Oh, this guy's trying to scam," etc. And I just sat on the side, and I watched the Hex launch. Like, I was there for the launch. I never got in the AA. never free claimed with my Bitcoins. I watched the candlelit stream. I was there for the first time that the OA ever moved the funds, if you know, the 1337 move that it did. And my attention got took away by Binance Smart Chain, effectively. And, you know, I was over there for the BSC summer, etc. And when that was starting to die off, I looked at Hex again. And, you know, I could see it was still there. Everything was going, as you said, about the big payday, etc. There was a lot of euphoria around the Hex ecosystem. And I put a lot of the profits that I'd made through the Binance into Hex. And it was probably around maybe day 500 I got into Hex. It was just under a penny, I remember. And yeah, like I've been with you guys ever since. And you know, decided to join Twitter, join the ranks, as we say, and you know, speak out, chat with a few of you guys, etc. online. And been enjoying the experience ever since. And you know, I was fortunate that I got in just before PulseChain. You know, it was probably a good 12 months, etc., running up to, you know, the initial sacrifice. So I thought to myself, I'm not going to lose it this time. You know, I'm gonna grasp the bull by the horns, as they say. And I sacrificed, you know, and I made it worth my while in terms of I want to be there at the start. And you know, more than anything, you could say PulseChain is another EVM compatible chain. I experienced BSC at the start, so no matter all what's happening right now at the start, I know what's going to come. You know, I know where PulseChain is going to lead us. So it was great to get in there. And then yeah, as PulseChain was, you know, getting close, testnet was out. I just thought to myself, you know, you can't Ethereum mine anymore. I'd sold all the mining equipment, etc., and wasn't really actively doing anything to benefit crypto, should we say, in terms of like providing a service, you know, securing a chain, etc. So that was more the decision of why I thought, you know, I'll get in and I'll become a validator. And it all stemmed from there, really. You know, as you can see, the tweets that I put out, etc. I just thought, you know what, if there's any other people like me out there thinking, you know, they want to get on board, they're not too sure how to do things, or you know, they just want to watch somebody's journey in terms of becoming a validator, then, you know, I thought I'll just put the information out there.
Yeah, I was going to ask you too. For me, when I looked at being a validator, I really didn't think I was going to make much Pulse. And
Okay.
like I went into it and I was like, I literally just want to have utility. Like I have these skills. I do security. You know, I write code from time to time. Thank you. Yeah. I try to like help the community with that. You know, streaming, all this stuff, getting information on projects and kind of disseminating and synthesizing Richard's tweets, and especially around Pulse launch, I did a lot around that. But I was thinking, validator, you know, I believe the Pulse price will go up over time. So even if it's not that profitable in the beginning, for me, I didn't really care. I was like, yeah, I'm in this for the long game. So I want to ask you too, like what happened when you saw Richard was like, oh, we're going to 1000x the APY type of thing. Like what was did you feel like it was, you know, was there any concern about profitability and that changed something, or were you kind of the same either way?
To be honest, I was probably still on the fence at that point. And, you know, he made the tweet out about the change in the APY, etc. And from then onwards, really, I just looked around at information. You know, part of my inspiration in terms of being able to do this was yourself, David Feeder, Gamma. I've seen Dipslayer before, not so much on Twitter, but I actually came across him in a Telegram group. And yeah, like it was more for me, like just participating. And if you think about running the validator as from another perspective, it's almost like, you know, you're staking your hex and you're earning your APY, but with running the validator, you can exit at any point. There's no set stake length, etc. But I guess your funds are a little bit more at risk because they're not in a smart contract. They're tied to a computer that needs to be online 24/7. So, you know, they had similar dynamics, and I just thought, you know, I'll get back into doing something in crypto as I wasn't doing the GPU mining anymore.
Okay, yeah, that's what I always think. I wonder before how many people came on board who were thinking about being validator. It's like, yeah, it's not really. I like, you know, locking up my pulse. I like helping the network, but you know, the ROI, it may take a long time to get that back. And then when Richard was like, all right, well, V4 because we need to change the network parameters. I wonder how many people were like, oh wow, this is actually, you know, it makes business sense to do this now. Like, so
Yeah,
just
for sure, for some, but it's nice to brag about the rewards for sure, but it wasn't really something that was a driving factor at the start.
I was just trying to find Richard tweet about it.
Finding the tweet, yeah.
Yeah, increasing the base factor for 1000x green line with Ethereum share deposit. Yeah,
it was pretty poor at the start, but it's a good point that you raised because you know, like how many people came in now because of the rewards, as you say. We don't know, but it only brings security to the network, so it is beneficial for everybody.
Exactly. So yeah, back then, remember when PulseChain was at launch and everyone was expecting V3 to be the last one, or mainnet could launch at any moment, and then V4 came. Thank you, validators.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was just on the tip of V4, so I actually got mine dialed in and started maybe 3 days before mainnet launch. So like for me, it was not so much a rush, but you know, like had I not have done that, yeah, and it could have been a problem because, as you say, if it wasn't a V4 after the V3, then you know I'd have to test. Well, I wouldn't necessarily have to test on mainnet, but you'd be missing out on rewards that you're going to get in early on.
Right. Well, so everyone in the chat, I know I got probably 3 or 4 questions queued so far. Keep putting them in there. I wanted to get through a little bit of how HexPleb, how he set it up, and just his experience overall with validating. I want to get through that, and then we will answer all the questions in the chat as best we can. So yeah, HexPleb, how do you want to talk about your experience? You know, how you got it set up, if you use particular scripts or guides, and like what you had problems with during the process, and what you figured out, and all the juicy stuff.
Yeah, I should make a note here because there was a problem that I do seem to get. Maybe you will know the answer, I'm not too sure, but in regards to setting up, yeah, like I say, I took inspiration from yourself, David Feeder. I had a look on Gamma's website one time as well, and you know how it is with the crypto game. Don't trust, verify. So I decided to have a look into ETH staking and how people stake on ETH, and you know, came across things like ETH Docker. You know, looked at all the information on the Geth website in terms of you know, how to get that running, Lighthouse, etc. And you know, I made the decision that I wanted to run 2 particular clients, which is Geth and Lighthouse. There are reasons behind it, but we don't need to get into that. And I wanted to run Docker because looking at your scripts and looking at David's was a lot easier for me to understand in terms of what's working. I'm not too great in terms of using Linux, so you know, I know that the script's automated, but it was more in terms of like, if anything's going wrong, like how can I address things and understand things from my point of view, rather than being able to reach out to the community and get help from them. Because you know, sometimes in this crypto game you have to be independent, and you need to learn, because as I say, you can't trust people in the game. You don't know what kind of tricks that they may be trying to play. So you know, I decided, you know, I was going to do a Docker setup. I was going to use Geth, and I was going to go Pulse and go Lighthouse, and I did it all from scratch, to be honest with you. You know, learned all the commands that I needed to input in, and was able to set it up that way. And I found it more fun and challenging in doing that, because you know, errors happened here and there, and it gave me more knowledge, so that in the future, if for some reason something happens to the validator, I may have a better knowledge of being able to fix it. So yeah, like I didn't use anybody's script, but you know, I looked at everybody's and I looked at information out there to decide what to do was best for my scenario.
Yeah, I mean, just on that too, I think that I've heard that before. Like a lot of people don't want to use scripts because they want to go through each line and understand how it works. And that's why I'm glad we have people having with guides. You know, David Feeder's got a, you know, basically
I praise all
guide.
you guys with the guides and the scripts, because if it wasn't for you guys with the scripts, I wouldn't have had anything to read and understand in terms of what I needed to do to get the process done. So, you know, I appreciate you guys.
Of course. I mean, that's the beauty of it, is having multiple people doing it different styles. Some people, for me, for example, I prefer, I don't, you know, I already have like a, you know, I've been working in tech for a long time. I have this background and all that. So for me, it's like, I really don't care about much how it works. I can figure it out on my own later if something happens. I just want like /go, run a script and do that. And then DipSlayer script is like this whole, all these commands and different options and stuff, which is amazing. And then the guides
I did come across it, but I'd already got things dialed in pretty much when I came across DipSlayer's script. But his is yeah, it's advanced. That one is. It's got a lot of work put into that one.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's I mean, so his is more of like, okay, flexibility. So I would describe his as, you know, there's different, and you know, he provides all the bells and whistles when you restart it. It's got, you can set up a terminal to look at all the different status and information stuff. It's fantastic. I honestly just prefer I mean, it's mine. I guess I'm a little biased too, but I prefer mine. Just I barely even look at my validator stats. You know, I wasn't even that interested in looking at the Grafana stuff. I was like, yeah, I know other people want to set this up, so
it's cool
to
have
cool. It's cool to have, but I'm trying to think. I think yesterday. So okay, how do I monitor my validator? So I run my stuff in the cloud, so I'm not worried about like any power outages or anything like that or bandwidth issues. So basically, every week or two, I just look at. I go on Beacon Explorer. I got pulled up here. I go on the Explorer, and I just, you know, my public keys there for one of my validators, and I just look at it, and I'm like, okay, it still says active, cool, everything's running. I look at, you know, make sure it's doing the automatic withdrawals, all that's cool, and then that's about it. That's how I know it's running. I don't look at Grafana. I don't look at my estimated payouts or anything like that. If I want to see, I do look at my fee address. You know, I look at my fee address to see the balance, just to see how much is going in. And I look at my withdrawal address to see how much I made so far. But I only do that like every week or two. So it's really hands off. I mean, for me, it's like, I don't need all the extra stuff, but people who like it, you know, will use DipSlayer's script. People who want to be more hands off, they could use mine. Or, you know, either one. And then if you really want to learn how to use Docker, how to use Linux, how to use stuff like that, you can go through the guide. You know, David's got a list of commands to go through each one. And Gamma, the same thing. I learned a ton from Gamma before I was able to put together a script.
Gamma and David are very similar, but David's using Prism, whereas Gamma will tell you for all.
Right. So yeah, everyone has got their favorite client. So that's what I love about having, you know, Huddle Dog's got a guide too. I left that out the other day when I
never saw Huddle Dogs. Yeah, I didn't see Huddle Dogs at the start, but I have seen that he's got one now. Yeah, I saw it on his website.
I saw, because I added it.
You've got it linked on your GitHub as well. Okay.
I do. Yep. Where is it? Huddle Dog. Yep, right here.
Yeah, so I didn't see Huddle Dog having one at the time when I first started, but yeah, I know that he had one now.
Yeah, so Huddle Dog's got one. So anyone who, you know, whatever you prefer, like it's better to have more than one option. I'm glad I don't have the only script. I'm glad like it's spread out. The guides and scripts are spread out for different people, because people can choose which process they like, which you know, method of checking on it. Some people like to look at it every day, I'm sure. I don't. So I like my script because it's simple, straightforward, and don't need to do much. And yeah, this used to say the original license plate.
Oh, I didn't spot you've changed that. Yeah.
I got a meme guy who I'm like, yeah, just go make some stuff about validating. And he found this one. I'm like, that's my favorite one.
No, I hadn't seen that one. Back to what you were saying in regards to, you know, how you just check on the beacon chain, make sure you're getting payouts, etc. You know, pretty much I do the same. Like you say, it's nice to have the Grafana. I don't need to be there checking it daily. To be honest with you, I push all the Grafana I have the Grafana running on a separate system from the validator, so the stats are pushing over to a Raspberry Pi, and it's not really been running very well lately. So I don't really have much access to the stats other than when it's feeling happy to look at. But you know, at the beginning when the network launched, and you know, I was putting out a lot of tweets in regards to being a validator. You know, a lot of people would say, "Oh, it's a full-time job," you know, this, that, and the other, and it's just, I barely need to look at it. And to tell you the truth, this is the way how I monitor my validator. If you're familiar with computers and such, sometimes when they're doing processes, etc., you might get something called coil whine. And funnily enough, my validator does coil whine. And you know, as long as I walk in the room and I can hear the coil whine occurring every couple of seconds, I know the machine's working okay. I mean, it could be a fan, but I think it sounds like coil whine. It used to sound very similar when I was doing the GPU mining, so I don't really need to even check anything. But if you're new to this, you probably should be checking your validators. You know, whether that's daily or whatever time period you want to do is up to you. But you want to be checking them because things can happen. And you know, I'm in the UK here, and we've got good infrastructure, good electricity, and you know, I had a power trip a couple of weeks ago, and it gave me quite a little bit of a problem in terms of the machine shutting off abruptly and causing database corruption. And you know, for some, this might be a difficult thing to be able to repair, and they might have to, you know, resync the whole chain again, and spend a lot of time doing that and losing rewards. So I would highly recommend for people out there who are new to this and doing validators, don't take risks, and if you can, make sure you're using a UPS, because you don't want to go through the hassle that I went through. And you know, I'm not so much bothered about the rewards. It was, you know, the stress of trying to get the system back online and get it back online quick and efficiently, and not cause a problem. And as I said to you earlier, you know, my Linux knowledge isn't the best, but I got it done. And you know, somebody's just commented on in the chat, UPS is a must. So for any of you out there and you want to not get problems like me, then make sure you run a UPS. But I wouldn't be a pleb if I wasn't doing it without. So the risk is all on my shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, that's one advantage. I went back and forth on Twitter a few times too, and been on stream answering questions. But the trade-offs between running it on a VPS, you know, getting it co-hosted somewhere or hosted
VPS
versus
is a
at
good
home.
way.
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons. I mean, you can talk about decentralization, you can talk about the not having to worry about utilities or bandwidth, but it's definitely not the cheapest option. So I understand most people probably should run one at home, I guess, or if for their situation, they're more likely to. And I'm even looking for a cheaper VPS and cloud myself, because I'm like, you know, I know, again, I believe the price will go up over time and it won't matter. But in the short term, even I'm like, I love AWS, but man, you guys I feel like there's a cheaper option here. But the thing I don't worry about, the reason I'm so lax with it, the reason, you know, I don't have UPS because I don't need one, because I have it, you know, hosted.
You have it on the VPS, yeah, of course.
So I'm never worried about uptime. I'm never worried about any of that unless something literally on the system breaks, which that's why I tell people, hey, when you set it up, use a clean system. Don't run. I mean, I wouldn't run multiple programs or different. You know, somebody asked me the other day about running the Teller Oracle validating type stuff on the same server. I'm like, I wouldn't do it. I would do two different servers just in case, you know, there's some kind of problem, resources, all that stuff. So
if
I'm a little bit
you
more
want to keep things secure, it's the best thing, to be honest with you. And you know, how secure you want to keep your validator is up to you, but I wouldn't advise running anything else on it, you know, just in case.
Yeah. And then running at home, like the security part of it is like, if you're running at home, I recommend like using either the guest network or a whole separate router, a different network.
Router is the safest way for sure.
It's the easiest. You just plug it in and just, you know, just make sure it can access the internet. And now you have a physical separation. The reason why is because of someone, if your validator, probably never happened, but if it ever did get hacked or otherwise people had access to it that you didn't want to, it's possible to, move onto and start attacking your other devices on the network. You don't want to have your validator on the same network as your home computer and your crypto wallet and all that stuff too. So that's why, like, VPS Cloud is completely separate network. You don't have to worry about it. You're not going to get DDoSed. It's not going to affect your network. The service provider is going to have to worry about all that stuff, at the basic level.
Yeah, so, as you say, it's safer on the VPS in terms of, your uptime, bandwidth, all these things you don't have to worry about. But again, it depends on people's circumstances. And for me, I already had hardware, so I thought, why not put it to use again? But with the VPS, as you say, it's monthly bills that you've got to keep paying, and regardless of whether you make the ROI or not. To some people, it could be an expensive bill to be paying monthly that they just don't want to pay. So
definitely, it's a trade-off. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly, for sure. There's benefits to both. I mean, one of the benefits to running your own locally is you can run local RPC, and you don't need to be using, obviously, PulseChain's RPC. And I've seen what it's like on networks like Polygon when RPCs get overloaded and becomes difficult to get your transaction through. So it's a nice benefit for me, obviously, to be running an RPC locally, and I can just push my transaction straight through to the validator.
Yep. And I was going to mention too, I do have a script. I messed with this a little while back. Setting up RPC on your validator if you wanted to use your own client. This script will help you do it. You got to use it. Modifies the configuration of what my script set up. So you couldn't use it on your own setup. You need to modify it. But another way
it only works with your script. Yeah.
Right, because it basically modifies the flags. It turns on core stuff on the guest service, and then it tells you how to forward it and all that stuff. So. But if you're technical enough, you can figure out how to do it without even running a script or modifying that one too.
Yeah, for sure. And for anyone who is running a validator, I recommend it. And you're never dependent on external RPCs. It's like, for instance, I had some Ethereum somewhere in a smart contract that we won't name for certain reasons, and it was very difficult to get out of there. And the only way that I could do that was running a node, running the software, because Infura block transactions. A lot of RPCs block transactions, so there's nothing better than running your own RPC, to be honest with you.
So that is the primary, other than dev stuff or testing things or things like that. Avoiding censorship is the primary reason for running your own node, basically. Right, as well, like you used it for that, it sounds like.
Yeah, I've done it for that. And like I say, when RPCs get overloaded, it can become a little bit of a kerfuffle. And I haven't seen any other RPCs, public RPCs online for PulseChain other than the main one. So
it's true.
It's something to think about. If you run a validator, it's something to think about.
Alex is building or built the data center.
He's building the data center, yeah.
So we may have one coming up for that Infura-like for PulseChain. So I'm going to get to a few questions in the chat. This one is most relevant since we're on this page. Blaine says, validated rewards are sent to the ETH address or PLS address that is supplied. You want to take that one, HexPleb?
Well, it can work a little bit with that, but yeah, sure. Obviously, it works on two ways with this, because you get two types of rewards. You get the execution rewards and you get the consensus rewards. And depending on how you set things up, you can get your block rewards going to one address and your validating fees going to another address. But that's dealt with on one of the flags that you set up when you're running one of the clients.
And then I think too, I was going to point this out where, what I've noticed before is kind of, so every epoch getting rewards, and then it kind of aggregates those and makes the withdrawals automatically if you set up a withdrawal address into your withdrawal.
That's a good point, to be honest with you, because it does depend on if you set up the withdrawal address. On this particular one that you're on, Max, if you go to the deposit tab, I think it's the one where it's click on that one.
That one. Yeah.
Yeah. And if
one.
you scroll down, does it show you the withdrawal address there? Does it show you the credentials? So you can see there it's an OX01 address. That's because when they generated their keys, they supplied the withdrawal address that they wanted to go to. Now, if you check on the validator leaderboard, you can see that somebody is in the #1 spot. I think he may be validator 6082, if my memory serves me correctly. And he doesn't have an address set up. And this is something I learned, that, you can set up your validator without a withdrawal address, and then you can run a command later on down the line to provide a withdrawal address. Might be beneficial for people for tax reasons. I don't know.
Interesting. I was just copying this one, and then if you remove the first bytes
you
that
remove
are
the first,
you get the withdrawal address. You can see this one has 2 million pulse. So if he's been validating for 39 days, he probably has 2 million.
He'll have a couple. He'll have a couple of validators on there. Yeah, maybe like you say, three possibly.
Possibly 3. Yeah, 2 to 3 validators. Yeah,
could be 2, like you say. What's he got? Fee recipient blocks. Look, 121 blocks. So yeah, he's probably could be a little bit more, and he's just not been getting high block rewards. But
that's
go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to ask here too. Do you want to, like, these things? I know a lot of people probably look at them and just be like, "Oh, what does all this stuff mean?" Do you want to maybe give us a
sure.
tour?
I mean, we can go through it. So obviously, there's 3 types of rewards that you get in. Now, the ones that you can see on the right hand side, where you're paid per epoch, they're the attestation rewards, and you get them every epoch. Validators a group of selected into groups, and you each vote together, and the attestations, they're all aggregated together to make one, and they're basically the rewards that you will get every attestation. It's the lowest reward as well, but it's the most common, and it can be earned, as I say, every epoch. You obviously get the block rewards, which you get for proposing a block. Again, this is random. Every epoch, 32 validators are randomly selected to put the blocks in the slot. For that, you'll obviously get the fee rewards of the block, which is a nice bonus. And it's always nice to find a block. I think the biggest block I've seen somebody find at the minute was 500k pulse for validating one block, which was pretty impressive. I've not looked recently, but yeah, it was it'd be a nice one to get if you got that. The website that you're looking at, if you want to post that in the chat, I can see that you've done that. Very good website to read in terms of if you want to get a little bit more detail in regards to how things are working, etc.
So 3 different ones: attestation, proposals, sync committee. Do you want to go through?
The sync committee is fun. I actually didn't realize what was happening with my validator when that was occurring, and I had to learn myself for that. As you can see there, again, groups of validators are selected, and when you're performing the sync committee, you're verifying a lot of the block headers, which the lighter clients use to synchronize. So people in future, they might develop web mobile wallets, etc. So they don't need to download the whole chain in order to verify that all the information that was put in there is correct. But you get a lot of rewards for that. But as I've tweeted a couple of times, if for any reason that you might want to take your validator offline, like you might want to clean the fans or anything, you need to be mindful of this, because you get harsh penalties if you're scheduled to be in the committee and you're offline. It's a lot of rewards, because you're getting rewards every slot rather than every epoch. So it can be quite detrimental to your yield.
Yeah, so slots versus epochs.
Every epoch we have 32 slots. Right. Now each slot contains a block. all the terminologies can be a little confusing, to be honest with you. You know, blocks, slots, epochs, it gets confusing. But if you think of the slots as that's where the blocks are placed, and again they're bundled together, 32 slots per epoch.
Gotcha. And so the rewards to where, so each one, so we got attestation, proposal, sync committee. Where can you see on the Beacon Explorer, for example, on this one, can we see if they've got any sync committee? You know, we attestation, we went over proposal, like.
I believe it's on those little tabs. If you click in the middle one, the one next to it to the right, you can see where they've previously been scheduled for the committee. And funnily enough, this one that you've actually picked, they've been missing a lot. I don't know whether you can.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is it just because
this machine may be offline?
It says active. It says 97%.
I'm not sure.
I thought there was something where you can be selected, but then, or you can be like, maybe I thought there was something around you could be selected, you could be on the list, but then you not selected from that list or something. There's like a second layer to it.
I'm not too sure about that. I thought that, you know, for everyone, if you're one of the 512 that are selected for the list, you must be online.
Yeah, let me.
And you see, for me personally, it's a lot of slots as well. I think what is it, 8,192 slots that you're effectively signing through, and I think even, you know, myself, my validator missed a couple, and you know, I got really strong internet, etc. So it's possible to miss a few, I guess, if you're running validators from home, but to be missing them all on that one, it's not looking great for them.
So this one I just want to point out too. So this is not
that was what I was saying. Yeah.
So that's why we don't see the withdrawals happening, because they set it up afterwards, right? Is that the way it went?
It's not so much afterwards. It's where they've not when you do your key generation, it's where they've not specified a withdrawal address through the key generation, and then you can run a little script after where you can insert a withdrawal address, but you can only do this once. So once it's set, it's set. I'm kind of bummed a little bit that I didn't actually know about this, to be honest with you, or I didn't really read up into it, because you know, I could have had the king validator that's sitting at number one with the highest amount of PLS, you know, just for Richard bragging rights more than anything, you know.
I know, that would be cool. I just want to point out, so I was kind of confused for a moment. I was like, okay, what you said makes sense, and I knew that before. I forgot, but then I was like, but it still says withdrawal address, but this is not an actual address. It's
I don't believe it should be. Yeah, exactly.
Placeholder or something. Yeah. So that's why it confused me. I was like, why does it still say something there if there's not, you know, if there's nothing there? So withdrawal credentials the withdrawal address hasn't been set yet, and that's why.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I believe that's obviously the one that you set through when you generate your keys. That's how that one's how that one's set up.
All right. So we went through the attestation. We haven't found one that has got the committee ones yet. But what about the proposal? Or were you talking about? Let's see. Proposal rewards, sync committee rewards. Which one was showing?
I think that's the one that's showing the sync committee where it's offline. It's showing them missed, but that was it was quite a few epochs ago, so maybe it missed on the initial round that it was selected.
Right. Yeah, because it says the same epoch, right?
Yeah, but as you can see, obviously all the slot numbers are in chronological order, and
let's pick another one here. What about the proposal? How can we see the proposal?
The proposal rewards is the blocks, effectively.
Okay.
How many blocks you found? That on this one that we've got on the screen, they've got 2.
Proposal. Let's see.
Where's it say 2?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and then you click on the logo just a little bit below that.
Okay.
That's where the if you click on the root hash, you'll be able to see they've got their fee recipient address there and how much transaction reward they got.
Nice.
It's right near the top.
You know them?
It's either David or somebody that's used David's script to get online.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay.
Yeah, his script has the validatorstore.com in it, so anybody who's not eyes on and maybe doesn't know what it means, it's a nice little perk that you've got there.
Well, let him blend in too if a lot of people are doing the same thing, so nobody knows which one's him.
Yeah, exactly. Nice advertising as well.
Exactly. So where do you see the
scroll up to the top. Sorry.
Okay.
To the top of the page, and you'll be able to see who proposed the block. You'll see the validator who proposed the block. What are they? 24,895. You can see the transaction reward and the fee recipient. The proposers are nearer the bottom. You see just below the time. Go back up to the top, Max. Sorry.
Am I not seeing this?
You can see the epoch at the top. Okay. Yeah. So they're obviously the proposer, but if you click on their fee recipient address just a couple above, if you give that a click, it should show us on the Beacon Explorer, and then you can click on Produce Blocks. And that was the blocks of that validator that you selected there, and the rewards are displayed a little easier to read there.
Gotcha. So that's where you can see your block proposal rewards. Okay.
Yeah. Gotcha. It does show you on the page before, but it's a little bit more difficult to read because obviously you need to know where to put the decimal point.
Yeah. Where is it? Just okay. Is that what it's?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Interesting. I was like, that looks like it's it, but I'm not going to assume. Okay.
So it's just easier to read if you just click on your fee recipient address, and then you can see the for anybody who doesn't know where to put the decimal points for that. But that's the proposal rewards there.
Yeah, proposal rewards. We know it's a station in the sync committee. We haven't found one that has
currently on
participated.
Sync.
All just missed ones.
Yeah, no, they're not on.
I'll check one more before we go on, just in case.
What are you doing? Ranking through the ones on the highest reward at the moment? Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't know like a better way to get a random one, so I'm just kind of like scrolling through here.
Yeah, no, I thought that would show you anyone who maybe is 5,000 plus.
Yeah, I don't want to ask for updates on the Beacon Explorer, but if you guys could let me sort by who gets the rewards, that would be sweet. But probably will never come compared to all the other stuff that needs upgrading.
Yeah, maybe I'll have a look on mine, but
yeah, I'm not seeing it. That's all right. I was just curious if we came across it. All right, when I get to I mean, have a look on your end as well. I'll just get through questions before we wrap up here.
Another thing that I should point out as well in regards to UPSs is there's a couple of ways that you can use them. You know, a lot of people have them set up where if they have a power cut, the UPS might keep the machine online. There's another way that you could run the UPS as well, is use the UPS to detect when you've got a power cut and safely shut your node off. You're going to obviously lose a few rewards during that time and get penalties, but maybe it's a safer way because some people's electric could cut for hours and the UPS might not keep it online. So I don't know, it depends on people's circumstances in regards to how they're using the UPS, but I would definitely recommend them for people.
Good point.
That's one thing that I can say that I took away from things.
So for people running validators at home, two biggest must-haves is a separate router or somehow network isolation from your home network, just in case.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to play things safe.
Yeah, and the UPS in case you get outages and stuff like that. And make sure the UPS is also on your. If you can put it on your modem, your router, whatever is taking in your internet, because if you just put it on your validator server, then and you don't have one on your internet, well, it's still going to go offline. It's just not going to shut down. So you're still not going to be operating unless you also have internet.
Yeah, it's a good point. Make sure if you are using a UPS, run the router on the UPS too. Oh yeah, Harmonica Hexagon mentioned about the APR yield. Sorry, it's not something I've been tracking personally for mine. Like we said earlier on, I'm not so much looking at the rewards. It's the long game. You know, I know that in the future it'll be a nice pot that's there. So I can't tell you in terms of what my validators have been earning in terms of yield, other than what I tweet out. But what was it showing there before? About 20% at the moment.
Yeah, 22.8 it says on pretty much
Yeah.
both. But yeah, I would take that with a grain of salt right now. I don't think we have a good calculator on Launchpad for the changes that would incorporate the changes that have been made on PulseChain around parameters and stuff too. I'm not even sure if it's actually super accurate on Ethereum either, but such a new network, it's kind of, we haven't even been doing this a year. All this stuff goes up and down. So
Yeah,
I've heard
for
people
sure.
report 15%, 17%, maybe 20%, but I wouldn't, I don't know, I wouldn't expect to get over 20%. If you're going to be a validator, just expect 10 to 20%. Maybe that's a better way to set expectations.
It's a good way to look at it. I should probably set up a spreadsheet, see if I can work something out. But I was going to actually ask you if there was anything that you was using in terms of tracking your validator rewards, and maybe you could answer the question better, but I'm guessing no.
I did it a couple weeks ago. I did a calculation, and I think I was getting like 17, 18% somewhere. Let's say 15 to 18% somewhere. But I started early too, so I was getting some sweets. I was getting in the 40% APR. I'm trying to think how I did it. I think I just looked at how much I'd made and divided it by, the days, and did all that calculation.
Okay, you just did it like that rather than setting up a spreadsheet.
Right. I just feel like, I'm just curious. Is this, is it 25% or whatever it is? So that's why I did it. I think we'll have better tools. I mean, we're only 6 weeks into this thing. So in the next 6 months, we'll have a lot better tools and upgrades too.
Yeah, that's another thing, to be honest with you. It's like, there's a lot of arms up in the air, etc. But it's like, it's a 6-week-old network. Like, come back, look at things after 6 months, then we'll be able to really, know a lot of the answers that we might not know at the moment.
Or go to Antarctica and put a validator, because I don't see one there yet. I don't see one in the seventh continent.
No, none there at all. Yeah. We need to get somebody on there. Unfortunately, I'm not close, but somebody must know somebody out there. Hexagons are all over the world.
It's true. Yep. It's nothing there. So anyone wants to have some very special utility, get us one at one of the military camps or the civilian ones or something down there in a legit way, of course.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm not too sure about the question regarding liquid loans. It's not something. Liquid loans isn't something that I've looked into. I've obviously seen them, heard of them, but it's not something I've looked into. So I'm not sure about that one.
I think what she's saying is would be referring to as the Oracle service, the Teller Oracle thing.
Okay, yeah. They're definitely going to need nodes if they're looking to run an Oracle, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the rewards are going to look. So everyone asks, okay, are you going to do Teller or Oracle? Are you going to like run a I forget what you call it exactly, but basically validator service for that? And to me, I think about, my first reaction is no, but it's not because I don't like the products or whatever. It's just because I went into being a PulseChain validator because I wanted to help the community and do all this stuff, and I wanted to earn Pulse. So if I was going to be earning Pulse doing it, or PulseX or some other RH coin, then maybe I'd do it. But earning all the other coins after setting up all the infrastructure and knowing it may not, I don't know, this may be super profitable. I have no idea about tokenomics or the validator stats or anything on that yet, or the APR. But to me, it's just like, the reason I'm doing validators is because I want to help, the RH products and stuff and earn RH coins. So that's the only reason. It is technically interesting, but I'm trying to be a little bit more careful where I put my consciousness and time and effort and stuff. And I think it's the biggest bang for buck is within, the native ecosystem right now. Although liquid loans, I'm excited for that product. Love all the work they're doing over there and stuff too.
Teller is something else I've not fully looked into myself personally, but I'm imagining it's something like Chainlink for Ethereum, but obviously for Pulse. Is that right?
I really don't know. I don't know much. I have a video. Gamma came on a few weeks ago, and we talked about it.
Maybe I should watch that. Yeah, maybe I'll check that out after the stream and see. But it sounds to me like maybe a price oracle, similar like Chainlink. But
yeah, he explained it, and that's the cool thing. So if you've been watching Richard for a while, he's talked about, Oracle's bad, can't do it, all this stuff. And I think what's cool about this and makes it more interesting is it's decentralized and you're getting paid. So everyone's incentivized or should be incentivized to not mess with the price feeds, not do bad actions. So I love the way they decentralized Oracle. They decentralized the Oracle service and not made it this centralized place, which, I think is what Richard was referring to before of if you got, one guy, one person, one place where it can be hacked or changed or manipulated, that's bad. But the decentralized Oracle service sounds like a solution for a lot of products that need that type of data.
Oh, okay, so maybe it might be a little bit different because Chainlink's centralized for sure. So maybe it's something I need to look into and do some reading on.
Yeah, I think Somi's got some good stuff on Chainlink. I think he explained it. Their biggest thing is like they have the data or the partnerships or something where you can't replicate Chainlink because they already have all this stuff in place, which is different. Which maybe centralized, maybe not. I'm not sure, but I think it's a way different thing. I think you basically pay with fees in the link. I don't know much about it. I just kind of I hear it because I watch so much Airfriend Somi videos. But then with the decentralized Oracle service, it's like, people are incentivized to check and verify this stuff to get it through. So anyways, RHMax Teller Oracle service, if anyone's interested to get a refresher, because it's been a while since Gamma talked about it. I can't quite remember.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at it. One last thing I would mention in regards to validators, etc., is I've seen a few questions lately on Twitter in regards to pooled validators. I'd be very careful. If anything's like that are launched, just make sure if they do come out, you want to be reviewing the code. If it's somebody like Alex from Hedron who's forking Rocket Pool, then you probably know you're good to go and it is safe. But I would highly recommend anyone who wants to be a validator, try and do solo validating. I mean, like, it's not too expensive to get a validator under your belt, and you're much safer. You're in control of your own coins. There's no risk that any tomfoolery may happen and somebody could be looking to just make a quick buck. So I would highly recommend that if you want to get involved, there's many ways to do it, but I would suggest solo over pooled.
I agree. Yeah, it's very tempting. So it's like one of those open markets right now, because a lot of people's barrier to entry, if they are interested in validating at all, is you got to have some technical expertise. You got to know how to use Linux at least a little bit. You got to know, if you're using a guide, you got to understand how the stuff works and otherwise. So even if you're using a script, which mine automates most of the stuff you need to do, you still need to run some commands by yourself. So it is ripe for there's a ripe market for pulling a validator stuff. Again, anything Alex does, I like, and I would probably use at some point. But watch out for the too good to be true. The hey, we're going to do this, but dev team not sure where they're at, not sure, anonymous founder, all that stuff. Watch out for people trying to take advantage of that, because there is a hole in the market for that type of thing, and it will happen one way or another. We hope that a good founder and a good product comes out of it, not something that's going to fail or even if it fails with good intentions, it still could fail. So watch out for that for sure.
Yeah, but it's definitely something I will be mindful of.
Yeah. Blaine says, dumb question I was using. First of all, Blaine, you got to bring your questions to AMA. We don't judge questions here. Bring all your questions, because everyone's on their different level of expertise.
So he's mentioning about passwords for wallets. This is a Prism question. It's not something I'm too sure about because I don't use that software, but I don't believe that the password is accessed by MetaMask. No, I don't believe that you should be using that password anywhere. That password, I believe, decrypts your wallet possibly, or unlocks your wallet. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, so I forgot we didn't answer Crypty's question, but it kind of pertains to this too. So the one of the things I like better about Lighthouse than Prism is you don't have to set up the password in the file, although I'm pretty sure the password is in the file somewhere. It automatically does it for you.
I think it is still text, yeah.
Yeah, it's still there. It's just you don't have to do it manually. The biggest difference between Aragon and Geth, I remember, is I think by default Aragon is a archive node. It takes forever to sync, and you got to change that or something. Although I don't use it. Go ahead.
It's better for the RPC as well to be doing Aragon. Like you say, it's an archive node. I chose Geth because you can run certain parameters to keep your database trim, so growth isn't too quickly over time, which is good. And yeah, as you say, Lighthouse is a little bit lighter client.
I was going to say on Geth too, the only thing that I think is better on Aragon is it does automatic pruning, but with Geth you need to do it manually or set it up to do it manually. And I have
that's that is a good point. Yeah, it is one of the downsides to Geth, but like I say, there are options that you can set up to limit how quickly the database is growing. So maybe that's worth looking into.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, be careful. The only thing, I'd say I've seen people ask a lot of questions around adding different options to their flags to their clients. So just be careful when you do it, because there's so many. I've seen so many questions, I think, in the Telegram of like, I added this flag, or they'll have some problem, be like, here's my flags. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of like custom flags you're adding. So
you're adding complexity. You know what the flags are doing.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you add flags, you're adding complexity implicitly. Just make sure you know what you're doing, and if you're trying to debug something, remove some of the flags, like remove the ones that you've added on later on, get it down to its most basic level, and then see if it works. So then you can process of elimination. This flag is making it not work correctly. Common debugging and stuff like that.
The best way to find out exactly what the flags do is go and look at the documentation. You don't search for Geth. All the documentations on the website, search for Lighthouse. All the documentations on there, they tell you what all the flags do. So you should be able to know what flags you're going to need for what jobs that you want to do. Like we were speaking earlier about the Grafana and the metrics. You have to use the metrics flag for that.
I'm gonna link to the Git books here too.
Maybe is it
Sigma Prime?
Sigma Prime, yeah, that's the one. Yeah. That's showing you all the things that you want for Lighthouse, the options that you can set on the command line.
Yeah, this is.
I can't remember exactly where it was on that actual.
Somewhere in here. I'll just put it in for Lighthouse if anyone's running that. Different advantages. Yeah, so I would say in general, I like the only thing different with Geth that I think Aragon's better at is the pruning. But I mean, you can
pruning change
your flags. You can set it up automatically. If you know how to do that. But really,
did you have a script for that, Max?
For what?
For pruning. Have you
yeah.
set up a script for that?
Yep, right here.
Okay, so I've missed that one. So that's something that I'll have a look at on your repository when I need to do it in the future. I know that yours will only work for your script, but I'll be able to ascertain information to educate myself on how to do it, because pruning is not something that I've done.
Well, this one, actually, funny enough, I think all the other scripts will only work if you run my setup script, but this one is independent, because the only thing it does is run these flags on you got to change your get data, which is set up by default where my script puts it. But if you want to run it, just change these, and then it'll just okay, take that back. It does run it as the node user. So, but for you, the most important thing is this command is what it does. So that's how you prune it, and then you can set it up as a cron job to run it, every quarter, every 6 months, whatever you think is a necessary time to prune, and just basically run that command. After you stop Geth, run the command, start Geth, and that's should work.
It's definitely something that I'll look at when the time comes, for sure. I didn't realize that you had one.
Yeah, I took it. Somebody was mentioning it one day. Man, I want to get ahead of this. I want to figure it out, write a script and be ready for it, because it takes a few months. We haven't even been running the blockchain that long yet to even. I tried to test it out, and it's like, Geth doesn't need prune. Geth literally it's too early to prune. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll try it later on.
As Dipslayer mentions in the chat, it will be different for me because of using Docker anyway. But as long as I can see things, etc., it gives me an idea of how things work out. It's not too difficult to work out the different flags. But like I say, I'm not a pro at this. I'm learning as much as a lot of other people may be learning. I think Dipslayer mentioned the answer there in regards to the password file as well.
Key store password. Yeah, exactly. Not your seed phrase. Yeah, it's Prism. You create the password file, and then I think the password is automatically on Lighthouse. You type it in when you validate, and then it saves it somewhere that it reads configuration. I think that's how it works, and which makes sense.
A quick question as well for the Cryptopholic is asking about generating keys on another machine, like Windows. I'd highly recommend that you use Ubuntu Live USB, which you can set up using Rufus. If you have a look on my Twitter, there's how to set up generating your key on another machine, all the dependencies you need to install. It's rather quick. I'm sure Max might have something here. Do you have it for generating on another machine as well?
I don't have. So I have. Yeah. So
I think you have to set up with the Universe repository in order to download some of the dependencies, I believe. Yeah, yours looks like you've got it there. Yeah.
Yeah, I
would highly recommend that you do that because you're doing everything in memory. Once you reset the machine, everything's gone. You don't really have to worry too much. I wouldn't advise doing it on Windows personally.
Yeah,
unless it's a fresh install and you're formatting it straight after. I would highly recommend the live environment.
If you're doing a live environment, yeah, like you said, make sure you do an add universe, because that'll get you stuck real quick if you run into an error after you're running. So I got all the commands to run. If you run into an error, can't find Python or whatever, do this, and that should fix it. And then I sorted the 4 ways of doing it: live CD, from basically most secure to least secure. So live CD, bootable USB, in-memory operating system to generate it. Use another machine, with a clean install, or with live CD or whatever you want to do. You can use a virtual machine. Again, I put all the caveats of doing the less secure versions, and then spin up a free. I was using AWS a lot, so you can spin up a free tier instance to do it. So it's ephemeral instances, but you gotta you gotta pros and cons.
I mean, for me personally, like I say, the best way is the live USB on another machine for sure.
Yes, I think that's the go-to way as well. The live CD, live bootable. Gonna wrap up here in a minute. I'll get to maybe 2 more questions. Danielle, my concern is getting my coins back if the hard drive dies. It's easy to swap out and boot back up. You answer that one, HexPleb. I'm looking around.
It's not so much that obviously your coins are stuck on the hard drive. You've got the keys. As long as you wrote down those seed words, then you'll always be able to get your coins back. But again, if the hard drive does have a problem, maybe you want to have some form of backup there, whether you're running 2 machines side by side. So if one went down, you could just quickly put your keys on the other one, so you don't get as much penalties. You could look at running raids. I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned anything about running a raid on their validator, just in case if the hard drive went down. But if you got good enough internet, then you shouldn't have a problem swapping it out and resyncing. But again, it's all dependent on other things.
And the last question here, Blaine says, I also plan on starting with 1 validator, make sure it's working. When adding more validators, can it be done from the same wallet, or do you need to do a new wallet for every validator?
I believe that you've got that set up on your GitHub somewhere, where it tells them how to load additional addresses from their already generated seed words, so they don't have to make a new one.
Yep. So I basically just took the content on this other side, just changed to PulseChain and tried to explain it a little bit on the indexes. Make sure you get that correct.
CoinCashew, best thing that they can check.
CoinCashew's got a lot of good guides and stuff.
That's effectively how I learned how to set up. The one that I tweet about was one that I set up first, and then I just generated more addresses from the keys using their guide.
Yep. Yeah, they're awesome. Just make sure you get all the indexes correct if you're adding it. I haven't did the process myself, so this is just kind of like I went off of what they're doing and then just changed it for PulseChain and added the make sure you have access to your withdrawal wallet and no one else does. Extremely, extremely important. I would just follow their guide and just kind of look at mine as reference, because I haven't did it myself, but in theory that's what it looks like. And then add a little bit of nuance for PulseChain there too. All right. I think we will wrap up there, man. what are you looking forward to? Maybe we'll go out on that. What are you looking forward to in the next few months? What do you think is going to happen with the APY? Are we going to add more validators? What's
I think validators will slowly go up over time for sure. I'm not sure how quickly. You know, we've kind of stagnated out a little bit now around the 20K mark, but like we were saying earlier, we're 6 weeks old. You know, a lot of people are going to find out about this, and I think, you know, don't be surprised if in 6 months, maybe a year, there's 50K validators. You know, we could even be pushing up even more. I have no idea, but anything's possible. You know, we've got a lot of people doing marketing out there, as you saying when we first got on the stream, the PulseChain tour, going out, seeing those guys. You know, like everything's going off all over the place. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we talked about before even PulseChain launched, how many validators we're going to have, you know, where the APY is going to go. Will there be a change eventually? You know, if it becomes 50K to be a validator in the future, if the pulse price goes way up and it's 50K to be a validator, do we fork again and lower the price for better onboarding? That's going to be interesting in the future as well.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
Good problem to have, though.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say whether it will or it won't. It's one of them. We don't know what's around the corner, and we're just all here for the magic carpet ride, as they say.
Exactly. If you're wondering about APY, pulse price, how many validators you're running, and how many people are participating. Those are the three main factors in how much you can earn. And they are fluctuating up and down, and they probably will be for, well, I don't say no predictions, but I think 6 weeks into the network, I wouldn't be surprised if we fluctuate on all those numbers. So it'll be interesting.
I mean, the one thing that we can end on is in regards to validators is I was surprised to see that the Genesis validators pulled out so early. Really was.
That was I wasn't expecting that either. I didn't know when they were going to pull out, but I definitely didn't expect it the first month or so. So that was cool.
It was quite surprising that that happened, and you know, it just goes to show how more decentralized the network is now, and that, you know, people aren't relying on Richard to be running the validators in order to secure the network.
No managerial effort needed.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Last question, and we'll take off here. If I've moved multiple locations, can I plug and play a validator machine, or is there a different process?
You can plug and play it, yeah, of course, but it all depends on how long it's going to take you to move location, because you know, you're going to get penalties for the machine not being online. So if you was planning on moving somewhere and it was going to take, you know, a week, 2 weeks to get the machine online, then I would probably think about gracefully exiting and setting it up again afterwards. You're probably not going to want to get the penalties for an extended period of time. So I guess it depends on how long it takes.
That's a great point. So a few weeks is way different than a couple days. Yeah.
I mean, my machine, when I went offline, I was offline for roughly about 12 hours, and I think I probably took a hit of maybe 8K pulse. So that was in a 12-hour period. Like, if you imagine, start multiplying it up, it could be quite a few of your rewards going away, and then it's going to eat into your initial 32 million, which you're going to then have to build back up to then start getting payouts again.
That's an interesting one. If you fall under 32 mil, you cannot withdraw with that.
I'm not 100% sure. I don't know about that one. It could be possible. I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Cryptofolic, hit me up on Twitter if you got a reference to that. I'd really like to read more about it. I feel like I'm not sure. I haven't talked about that.
I feel that you can always gracefully exit, but I'm not 100% sure.
I could see it both ways. Very interesting. Yeah, hit me up on Twitter with link and explanation, because I definitely would like to know more about that Cryptofolic. Very interesting. All right, everyone. HexPleb, appreciate you coming on, man. Excellent stream. I think a lot of people learned a lot. Yeah, it's been great. Hopefully it won't be the last one, and you'll keep making the validator go burr. It's been super fun.
We shall do. Thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
Of course. All right, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Scivive and 5555.
5555.
We are out.